And so you'd look at that and say, give him some time with Ian Clark, rebuild, and sort of really sharpen that aspect. I don't think that that's the issue with Demko. And what Woodley was kind of saying was, with these sort of like reads and anticipation, you're only going to find that groove with game rhythm. So you don't want to have a situation where you're just riding Martin and Demko's on the bench and you're perhaps compounding the issue and making it even worse, where he feels even more cold and rusty. So I'd look at a relatively even split if I was in Clark and Boudreau's shoes.
It's interesting. A lot of 2 days off between games this month. It will be interesting to see what kind of run you want to get on with Demko, and if he plays well, if he's playing a lot of games. I know we've seen in the chat here, Matt says all of them. Give him all of them. So let's wrap up with this before we get to the Betway wrap up. Quick little one here, as we only got a couple minutes. We did this earlier in the week, and I just wanted to kind of get another perspective on it. Will this prospect play 10-plus NHL games with the Vancouver Canucks? So I've got a list. I'm going to kind of run through it. I won't give my reaction. People can go back and listen. We also have it on the other YouTube channel of Quads and my own thoughts about which player will play 10-plus games in the NHL with the Vancouver Canucks. This is the key part. So I'm going to run through a name. I'll let you know. You say yes or no. Maybe give me an answer.
Yeah.
Jonathan Lekkerimäki.
Yes, I think it's funny because considering where he was drafted, I think he's more of a boomer bust potential pick for sure compared to, say, a Liam Ugrin, who I know the Canucks were also sort of considering in that slot. But I think there's enough offensive talent and raw scoring upside that he'll get a shot and at least get some games.
Yeah, feels like the lock of this group, I think, to play 10-plus games. Though, we'll see what happens, what his career actually looks like. Elias Pettersson, DPD, 10-plus games for the Canucks.
Yeah, I think so. I really like how practical his skill set is. It seems like the sort of game that's going to translate really well to an NHL environment in terms of how sound he is defensively, how physical he is, the nastiness and meanness that he sort of has in his game as well, which is an element and an ingredient that the Canucks don't have enough of on the back end. The way he defends a rush, there's nothing flashy about his game, and I think that's going to be an element where he's going to need to show that he can make, more consistent plays with the puck. But I think we have started to see some progress with that this season. So I think he's a strong bet to at least play some games.
Yeah, a lot of people in the chat agreeing with you. They're saying steal of the draft. Elias Pettersson was also saying another good message here into the chat. True Sight says confidence is the issue for so many players on this team. Overall, a team culture problem. You could definitely look at it that way, with confidence being a worry for a lot. This is where it gets interesting. I felt really good about Lekkerimäki and Pettersson as well. Let's see how many yeses we got on the rest here.
Let's do it.
Jet Wu, 10-plus games with Vancouver.
No, I just haven't seen enough in terms of his foot speed. I haven't seen enough in terms of his two-way intelligence to think that he can make an impact. He's obviously, I love his physicality, but even when I've watched him in training camp, I've never really thought to myself, oh, this looks like a guy that's going to factor. And I mean, last season he was playing some games at forward.
Yeah, not great. Let's get to our next one. You talk about two-way intelligence. This might be the thing that keeps this guy out. Danila Klimovich, 10-plus NHL games with the Canucks.
No. I look, there's absolutely a possibility that he could play. I think he's got the potential. I was really impressed with him at the Young Stars tournament.
Yeah, very true.
But again, we're just sort of making a prediction. And I just look at his defensive habits, his two-way play, and it's just not even close to being NHL level quality, right now. And obviously he's got a lot of time, but we just haven't even seen the progression, right? I think that's what we wanted to see in his sophomore AHL campaign was, okay, he's a young guy, at least show that you're an indispensable middle six piece, right? I'm not asking you to go out and score a point a game in the American League, but just show that you're making progress. Yeah, be a player that the coaching staff can't look at and say he's got to come out of the lineup because we can't trust him at all. And I think that's where you look at what Klimovich has, and this is why it's so frustrating, right? Because he has the NHL caliber puck skills, right? It's legitimately impressive. Like, he can be a wizard with some of the plays that he can make. Yeah. He's got the size. He's got the raw athleticism. There are so many qualities. You look at him and go, he should be an impact NHLer in a middle six role one day. But there are just so many, like, I just look at the bar I always have is, like, I'm just imagining how would, for example, Boudreau or Travis Green, like, look at Boudreau. Boudreau already clearly hates Nils Höglander and his defensive habits.
Yeah.
How would he look at Danila Klimovich. Like, how would Klimovich get to the point where he earns that sort of trust? Again, I don't think it's a slam dunk no, but if I had to make a guess right now, I would say no.
Yep, I said no earlier in the week as well, and I think that surprised a lot of people, but I said no. I don't think he's going. I think there's too many bad habits, and I don't think I've seen a change in those bad habits.
We're not writing him off, but it's just probability.
He's a teenager in the AHL. It's hard to write him off, but if I said something's going to need to change my mind to say yes, and that hasn't happened. Okay, we got like 2 minutes here left. Okay, so I'm just going to get yes or no answers, just so we have you on record saying yes or no here. Jacob Truscott.
I'll say yes.
Yeah, I think so too. Aiden McDonough?
No.
Nope. Linus Karlsson?
Yes.
Lucas Forsell?
No.
Philip Johansson?
I got to be honest, I'm 50-50 on that. I
mean, that's what the guy that Alvin name checked about coming over here next.
I'll say yes, just because he's played well in the SHL this season, and just because they're so desperate.
Yeah, that's right shot D. Too desperate was the answer as well.